He actually had a private visit with Nick Saban himself at Saban's Lakeside Estate, where, if memory serves, Jonah had to actually drive the golf cart around the whole lake and these trails while talking to Nick Saban himself.
How awkward that had to be. Just saying, Paul.
All right, Jonah Williams joins us now. So how much did that moment maybe prepare you for the moment yesterday, Jonah, where your moment of glory, where there's a loose ball in the end zone and bam, I got to make a play?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the few times that a O-lineman can show up on the stat sheet, so it was good to be on the good side of that.
Jonah, I want to go into that a little bit deeper, but I have to ask you, was it awkward driving around with Saban? Was that weird?
It was definitely the sweatiest I've ever been in cool weather.
And it's so, listen, Nick Saban used to be the defensive coordinator with the Cleveland Browns when I was there playing for Bill Belichick, so I understand it had to be a little awkward. Okay, Jonah, do you have any tight end in you? Do you have any tight end in you in your past and what you've done?
No, I mean, I think the last time I was toting the rock was playing fullback back in peewee. So I've been a OD lineman ever since.
I cannot believe how adroitly you fell on that ball and you stayed in bounds, man. That was skill right there, Jonah.
Maybe skill, also panic and luck probably.
Now, a lot of offensive linemen have their hands taped up to such a degree that it can make corralling a football a little difficult. I mean, what was your key to securing? Because if you juggle or that at all, you're already beyond the end line, and that's a turnover.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I kind of just hugged it. It was just more of a ball bear hug situation. Not very adept with my hands, but counts as 6 points anyway.
Well, here's the thing I loved about it, Jonah, of course. Take us through that play right there, because you were following the play, were you not?
Yeah, I was pulling around, and the ball ended up bouncing outside, and so I just assumed it was going to be down, near the goal line, and then saw it pop out, and just sort of right place, right time. But it's also something we really preach about here is just chasing the ball, and you never know what's going to happen. So kind of right place, right time. But I was glad it bounced the way it did.
Cardinals right tackle Jonah Williams here on the Arizona Sports Line. I didn't even realize, because it was such utter chaos on the Cardinals sideline, that you did spike the ball. How good did that feel?
It was heat of the moment. We were standing there. I wasn't sure how they were going to call it, and the refs, called that it was a touchdown. And so all my boys on the line were saying that I had to spike it, and I was like, all right, well, you said it, I'm going to do it. So spiked it. Apparently bad spike for him. I haven't watched the clip back. But
that's not.
I was going to say, Jonah, if you didn't score a lot of touchdowns, okay, and you haven't scored a lot of touchdowns, and I know about not scoring a lot of touchdowns, even though I played 10 years as a fullback, I know an awful lot about not knowing how to spike the ball either, and it's a lot more difficult than you think, isn't it?
It is. The football, to get it to bounce right, it's not designed for that. So maybe I'll start practicing. You
might want to.
Yeah. Well, the one thing I'm guessing the two of you both have in common is neither one of you have ever had a touchdown clause, performance incentive in your contract. So that's. Let me ask you this: when you went back to your locker, what was your phone like? I mean, to what degree did that thing blow up?
It actually did a little bit. Usually I get a couple texts from my family and fiance, but this time it was more than a couple. But I mean, it was cool to see all that support, and then on top of just winning a big game that we needed to win, just a good feeling coming off the field there.
So, Jonah, just how do you think you played in this game personally? How did you play?
I thought I played pretty well. I think as an O-line, anytime you rush for 150 and a couple touchdowns, you'd be pretty proud of that. And no sacks either. And so I think it was a good game for us. And it was something we needed, just finishing the red zone a little bit better and putting up more points, helping our defense out too. And I thought they played well. So just a complete team win and something we needed going into this back stretch of the season.
Yeah, it really has been a difference seeing you back out there as a starter and contributing. Where do you think, since you've come back, where do you think it's taken you the longest to get up to speed?
I mean, it's always weird to come back from for missing that much time. But I think that I'm doing a little bit better job blocking at the second level. I would say that's the hardest thing to come back, because it's the most sort of anticipation of movement and getting used to the speed of the game.
Yeah.
The first line is pretty, you engage them really quick and, just start wrestling from there. But getting up to the second level and trying to cover up guys downfield is always a little tougher. But I think this past game is probably my best for doing that, and I'm getting back into the swing of that. So at this point, I don't feel like I have any rust anymore. I'm just, playing ball and, trying to contribute.
We're talking to the Cardinals right tackle, Mr. Big Man Touchdown himself, Jonah Williams. JG spent all week talking about, look, we got to get back to playing our, quote, brand of ball. He has a saying, cram it vertical. I mean, how vital is it for this offense to run the ball? To what degree is that the identity of this offense in so many ways?
I think it is. I mean, we have playmakers. We've got, I think, the best tight end in the NFL. We've got a great receiving core, great quarterback that can attack you in different ways. But I think that if we can't be physical and win the line of scrimmage, then none of that really matters too much. If we can establish that run game, get the play action going, and get our guys in space making plays, and forcing people to load the box a little, makes it easier on the receivers, and then they start making it easier on us, having to cover them in zone. So I think it's all complementary. We've got the guys to do it, and we've shown that we can do it. I just think we need to continue to be more consistent with our execution, and I think we can beat anyone.
So, Jonah, what do you prefer as a right tackle? Do you enjoy the power scheme, the gap scheme where you're being pulled, or do you actually like the zone scheme better?
Usually, I would say before here, most of my experience was either doing wide zone or sort of duo. But here we do a lot more pulling, a lot more getting into space. We're a lot more variable in terms of our scheme, and I really enjoyed it. The play that we're talking about, the touchdown, was me pulling around that way, and I had a couple others like that. So I really like it. It's sort of my first year doing that, and I think that it puts the defense in some binds when they have to be able to stop so many schemes. And then with James at back, that's a problem in and of itself. Then you have us coming at him in a bunch of different ways. So it's been fun to be a part of.
Are you guys seeing something in particular week to week these days from defensive fronts? Is there something that these opponents are trying to do in particular? It just seems like a lot of disguises, a lot of different looks. I mean, at what degree are they trying to make offenses think these days?
Yeah, I think that, like the team we just played is a well-coached team, and we've played a couple of those these last couple of weeks. Heavy fronts, trying to stop the run, stemming, before the snap to try to take us off double teams or whatever. And I think the coaches have done a good job with our scheme, just making sure that we have answers for everything, and adjustments that we can make quickly at the line. Because defenses just don't want to line up and let us just, wail on them and tee off on double teams and everything. So there's always going to be sort of that chess match going on. I think our coaches have done a good job, and it's just on us to keep executing and make sure that we take advantage of what's given to us.
Jonah, sometimes when you block for a big back, a guy like James Conner, that big back sometimes might run up your back, literally. And it does give you a little bit of impetus to go out there and do your job, doesn't it?
Yeah, but if he's hitting my back, he's hitting the linebackers even harder. So I know we have to cover up that first line, get up to the second level, and he's going to run through arm tackles. He's going to run over secondary players. So it's fun to watch.
All right, so as we come full circle here, wrap it up with Jonah Williams celebrating his first touchdown since peewee football. Greg Dortch posted on Instagram that the dinner was on him, because it was his fumble that you recovered. Are you going to take Greg Dortch up on that offer at some point, Jonah?
No, man. I guess, yeah. He's done enough good for us that I'm not too worried about it. But
so, Jonah,
I appreciate the offer.
If you're going to eat something, what are you going to eat?
Oh,
What's
that's
your
good.
favorite dinner?
Yeah.
Tough. Man, I'll eat anything. I feel like being out here though. I'm going to go for some tacos or something like that. I'm enjoying the Latin food out here.
How about some spicy tacos? Okay, some Cajun maybe. Yeah, that'd be good. Jonah, thank you, man.
Thank you, Jonah. Appreciate it. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Okay, Jonah.
There you go. By the way, that O-line dinner on Thursday night, how much would you love to go to the O-line dinner they usually have on those Thursday nights?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Because there's only one guy picking up that tab, and it's the quarterback. It's the only guy who can afford that tab on a Thursday night.
It's been a tradition around the NFL for a long, long time that's what the quarterback does. You go with the offensive lineman, you pick it up.
Thanks for watching Wolf and Luke. Tap to see more and click the button in the middle to subscribe to Arizona Sports.